Beginning Odd Dad Out podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Odd Dad Out podcast, where normal is not my specialty. I am your host, as always, Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out, and this is the show where I just kind of share my view and whacked out opinion of things, and generally just make fun of stuff. Okay, so, full disclosure, I absolutely had a plan for this week, and honestly, that completely got obliterated right about midnight last night. Because I was at work. As you by now have figured out, I work at night. If you've listened for any extensive stretch of time, you know I work at night. That being said, I was working in a building, because I do commercial cleaning. And I was working in a building, and I look up and I see, like, kind of walking across the lobby, and I see some guy knocking on the front window. So he's trying to badge in. Like, it's 12 o'clock at night. The only people in the building are me and the janitors. It was a drop of hint. I'm not a janitor. So this guy's is knocking on the glass. He's trying to badge in. His badge isn't working. So me just being how can I help you, trying to be a helpful person, I go up and I was like, how can I help you? What seems to be the problem? And he's standing there with an envelope. He's like, hey, I need to go he's like, I work in the building over there. If my badge doesn't work on this side of the building, I just need to go take this over to this other suite. I need to just slide this under the door, and I'll be it, and that'll be fine. Well, his badge doesn't work it's like one of those little, like, office complex kind of things where there's two separate buildings, and there's offices on one side, and then there's the other building, and there's offices over there. Fine. Well, his office is in the other building. His badge works for the other building. His badge doesn't work on the building that I'm in. I can't let him in. Any idiot knows. Like, janitors aren't going to let you in. Cleaning crew aren't going to let you in. Nobody in that building. No, like, vendor, contractor, construction worker, whoever. Nobody working in the building, other than, like, building security, will ever let you into the building, or are allowed to let you into the building. Why? Because what if you're just trying to come in and rip somebody off? What if you're trying to do something nefarious? So, to protect our own asses, both from, like, a legal standpoint and from a, from a security standpoint, I'm going to say it. This is a big guy. This is like a 6'3", 300-pound, fucking gorilla-looking son of a bitch. And I can't risk allowing this person. I don't, and I think if you work in a building with a badge system, they're all the same. Unless you've got, like, a photo badge, and I bet if you have a photo badge, there's some buildings I go to where I've got a photo badge, and it's literally my picture put in front of a generic-looking badge with a code on it. 1 million badges look the same. 1 million buildings use the exact same type of badging system for security. He's got just a blank generic looking badge. Like, I've got 3 of those in my van for different buildings. If I didn't have a little key ring that says what building they go to, I wouldn't know what the fuck badge is which badge. So, just because you have a badge does not mean you work here, does not mean you belong here, does not mean you have any place in this building right now. And even if you do work in the other building, you don't work in this building, and your badge does not let you into this building. So, I'm sorry, sir, I cannot let you in. Now, I did not go through that whole big long spiel about, your badge doesn't work here. I was like, hey, just for security reasons, policies, I can't let you in the building for security's sake. If anything happens, that's on me because I let you in the building. It's like, I do not know who you are. If you work on the other building, that's fine. But if your badge doesn't work on this door, I can't let you in. That's just, for my sake and everybody else's. And at which point he starts getting all snippy with me. And he's like, hey, I just need to take this over to this realtor's office. I just need to slide this under the door. That has to be in there first thing in the morning. I'm like, I can take it over for you. It's like, I can just tell me what suite. Hey, I can take this over for you. Fine. Not a big problem. He's like, well, I'll just go with you. It's like, I can't let you in the door. Like, I cannot let you in the building for security. You understand? Like, I just have to go in and go all the way down. It's like, I can't let you in the building. It was like, if your badge doesn't work, I can't let you in the building. And he starts getting all fucking snippy with me and giving me all this shit. And he starts cussing me out. It's like this fucking thing doesn't work. It's not my fault. The fucking thing. It's like, I don't care if it does. If it doesn't work over there, I was like, I'm supposed to. I pay $5,000 rent on my fucking office over there every month. It's like, hey man, I don't give a fuck how much you pay. Okay, I don't give a shit if you pay $2 million rent over on the West building. You're in the East building. You don't pay rent in the East building. Shut your fucking mouth. Of course I didn't say any of this. Why? Because I'm a courteous professional. Because that's what I have this show for. I have this show to get out my frustrations. I don't do it when I have 300-pound gorilla motherfuckers sitting there in my face. It's dumb. Like, why? Because I'm a 6-foot, 140-pound scrawny-ass dude. It's like, I am strong for my proportions. It's like, I'm 140 pounds. I can lift pretty well for a 140-pound, 6-foot dude. That doesn't mean much. I'm still 140 pounds wet. I'm still 6 foot tall. For any of you doing the math, I'm a skinny-ass guy. I am a tall, skinny guy with a ponytail and glasses. I'm not intimidating. This guy is cussing me out. He keeps trying to push past me in this fucking door. And then besides the fact he's cussing me, then he's giving me that stupid, bully bullshit. I'm gonna sit here and thump you and push you in the shoulder like I'm bigger than you and I'm fucking stronger and and I'm just calmly like, don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. You have to step away from the door. At which point he starts reaching, or he's trying to get past me. He's looking at the other janitors that are working there. Like, oh, she knows who I am. She knows she sees me here. She's not going to let you in either. She doesn't even speak fucking English. She's not going to let you in. And so the janitor goes and gets her supervisor who speaks English and who's outside. So she goes out, she gets her supervisor, brings the supervisor over. This guy's still giving me shit and talking all this shit to me, fucking still giving me the fucking Pokey Bear shit. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, if you lay your hands on me again, I'm going to call the goddamn cops. I don't care, because at this point, I have not cursed at this guy. I have not laid a finger on this guy. I very politely, very professionally, because I'm on the fucking clock. I am on the clock. I have been very professional. I've been dealing with this guy very calmly. I've said before, and you witness right now, I have anger problems. I was in anger management in second fucking grade. I have years of professionalism. My professionalism will always trump my anger. I will say, in this capacity, fuck all. Out in the world where I am being paid to perform a task, when I have a responsibility to represent the company that I'm working for, and my work as an individual and my livelihood is based on my performance, I'm going to be a professional. That being said, I wanted to stab this motherfucker in the throat because this guy kept putting his hands on me. He kept poking me in the fucking shoulder, kept pushing me, kept cussing at me, Meanwhile, I'm being completely professional. I'm trying really damn hard to be fucking professional. And so the little janitor lady goes and gets her supervisor, and this fucking guy who's like, no, it's like, I get this. He's doing great. He's doing fine. I was like, he's not doing anything wrong. He's just trying to do his job. And I told him, it's like, dude, I don't fucking work with them. It's like, I don't work with their company. I work with a different company. I'm here by myself. I don't have a supervisor out here. I am here. I am doing my job. And I leave. I'm completely independent of them. Supervisor shows up. She's like, he's not one of mine. They're a different company. So I have nothing to do with them. Just to quell the situation, just to calm the guy down, she goes and agrees to escort said gorilla motherfucker back there and all. And she tells him, it's like, our policy is, it doesn't matter if you don't have ID, whatever you have, you could have a business card, you could have a badge, but if it doesn't work on the door, we can't let you in the door. Anybody who works in any building that isn't their own, or even if it is your own damn building, has the same sort of policies for security. You work in an office that has badges, you cannot. Hell, my wife works in an office with badges. I cannot just walk in there because she let me in. She can't just let me in. For me to get into that building with her, in her presence, I have to go through signing in with security, and she has to get authorization from her supervisor to allow me into the building if I were to, say, want to have lunch with my wife at work. Which has only happened a couple of times, and in most cases it's, hey, I'm bringing something for her from home. Hey, she needed this thing, or something, or after we had a baby, because that happened so many times over the years. After there's a new baby, and everybody at work wants to see the new baby, so I bring the new baby. That happens. But it takes 3 stages of security for me to get in to see my wife in her building. I'm an overnight cleaner. They're janitors. We don't have those sort of authorizations. There is not an active security guard on site in this building. You have a blank generic badge that works in a different part of this complex. I'm not about to let you in, especially because I'm working alone. I don't have somebody that I can go in and say, hey, do I have authorization to let this fucking gorilla in? No, I'm just a guy. So, and this was a very rare night where I was working alone because I didn't have a lot of work that night. It was a very, very rare occasion. In 99% of the time, we work in pairs. We work in teams. Like, A, because there's generally a lot of work, and B, because our equipment's fucking heavy. True story. Our main machine that we use weighs upwards of 100 pounds. So now I have to load and unload this thing by myself. So, yeah, we usually work in pairs. And there are some much more intimidating people in our office than me. But, yeah, so I'm dealing with this guy. And after this, the janitorial supervisor comes in, and she goes ahead and escorts the guy back. And as he's going past me, he's like, he's like, oh, no disrespect to him. He's just doing his job. And I'm like, all you have done since you walked up here is disrespect me. He's like, fuck you. After he's been cussing me out the whole time. I have not cursed at this guy once. I have not done anything but be like super professional. And he's like, oh, no disrespect. Fuck you. Like, how can you say that within the same breath, you son of a bitch? Like, I hate bullies. I hate bullies. And the thing about this is that this is very rare for me. And like I said, I am a tall, skinny guy. I've always been a tall, skinny, kind of bobbly-headed, goofy-looking person. I'm gonna own up to that. But I've honestly never really been bullied a lot. I'm the best I can say to the only time I really was ever bullied was in kindergarten. Like I went to a couple schools for kindergarten because we moved a lot of kids. My dad was in radio. But I remember being bullied in kindergarten by some guy that was just like an older kid. Probably, I was in kindergarten. It was probably like a third or fourth grader that would beat me up on the walk home from school. And I got a guy that, and there was like another guy who saw that, who's even an older kid, who saw that they were picking on me, and so he walked with me to keep the other guys away. Eventually, the bullies reported him saying he was bullying them, and so now my bodyguard is gone. But, you know, that all went away, but that was kindergarten. I was 5 years old. That's the last time I was really actually bullied. And maybe just because, like, throughout school, I was always kind of kept to myself, and I was shy and nerdy and kept to myself, and so I didn't really I wasn't like one of those, like, active public nerds, I guess. I wasn't the guy that was in the drama club. I wasn't the guy that was in the whatever the hell different organization that just screams nerd that just targets you for bullies. I mean, I got teased occasionally by just some general, you know, jerky guys in school, more because I was skinny and kind of gangly looking, and so it was like neighborhood jerks that would tease me. But I wasn't really bullied ever. This was off-putting. And again, I have a short fuse, so as this guy is going, I'm just sitting there fighting my natural desire to punch this guy. I want to go off, I want to punch this guy. I carry multiple knives with me on any occasion. I'm a knife person, I'm not a big gun person. I'm one of those people, and it's not like I'm a crazy nut job. It's like, I've got like a Leatherman, I've got a little pocket, like box knife, I've got a larger fold out knife, and just for multiple reasons, because I'm a utilitarian type of person. It's like, I can justify in many, many cases why I have my different knives. It's like one of them's got a little glass breaker tool on it. It's great for emergencies. Oh, I have to break out a window for whatever the hell emergency that I would need to break out a window. I've got it. But yeah, I'm a knife guy. I always have knives on me, and I'm sorry, but I have at least one knife on me at any given time that I could stab a motherfucker with. And I really want to use it on this fucking guy. But A, professionalism. B, I'm very aware. Again, anger control classes and lessons and crap and trying to manage shit since the second grade. I very much am aware of my emotions and my anger and things like that, and that's why I have this outlet. But yeah, I'm very in control. Although I can feel how my anger building with this guy, I'm remaining calm. Meanwhile, this fucking gorilla son of a bitch is cussing me out and laying his damn hands on me, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking call the cops. And it was, once they let him in, it was just like the best I can do. It's like, I'm gonna go walk my floors. I'm gonna go catch up, because I can't remember at this point. I can't remember what the hell where I was at in my progress for the night. It's like, okay, where the hell was I, so I can get back to work, because this guy is just setting me off. So, I get back on with my work, and I go back and I finish my work, and I go and talk. At the end of the night, I wrap up. I'm loading all of my equipment back in my van. I go talk to the supervisor that let him in and all that. And I apologized because she had to deal with him, and she was like, yeah, he seemed like he was already kind of inebriated. I was like, yeah, this is a fucking, like, what the hell is this guy? And claiming he was like coming from a realtor's office or some shit. I was like, what the hell are you doing over here at 12:30 in the morning? That, like, if it was so important that you had to have it there, why didn't you do this shit earlier in the day? Like, why? There's no justifiable reason for you to be here in your khaki shorts and your bullshit shirt, unshaven, and your fucking sandals and bullshit at 12:30 in the morning. If this was so fucking important that you had to have it here at, before, first thing in the morning to them. It's like, you probably should have taken care of this more urgently. But, she was like, I just, I apologized to them, and she was like, yeah, he was kind of, I could see that something was going on and all that, but it's just, I've never experienced like direct bullying like that. And it's just one of those, like, this is one of those guys who's so fucking entitled, who's like, oh, I've got a big fucking fancy office in a big fancy building. And it's like, oh, we pay $5,000 rent. I was like, unless your fucking name is on that goddamn office, shut the fuck up about what you pay. You don't pay dick. Your boss pays something. Your agency pays something. You don't pay dick. Shut the fuck up. It's like, unless your name is on the goddamn window, shut the fuck up. But I hate bullies, and I hate bullies in a very general way. And I realize that the way I make fun of people and stupid criminals and shit like this, some could construe that as bullying. I am not physically attacking these people. I am cracking jokes at people for idiocy. I'm not a bully. I'm just kind of an asshole. And I'm an asshole in a sense I do it for comedy's sake. I never try to intimidate anybody. Like I said, I'm not an intimidating person. Anybody who's ever seen is like, I will straight up tell you, I've got a pretty decent death glare. I come by that naturally though. That shit comes, I take my glasses off and I could stare down a fucking elephant. But that's just by my natural facial features. And I just happen to have very angry eyes. Like Mr. Potato Head, I've got angry eyes. But angry eyes or not, I'm not an intimidating person. Again, tall, skinny guy, ponytail, and big nerd glasses. So, when a big guy like this comes along, they think they can push me around. And to a degree, he can. Because if, for whatever stupid reason, this were to become, escalated, if this situation escalated and this guy really got physical, I'm on the losing end of this equation. I'm fucked. I'm going to, I'm going to get my ass handed to me. Not that I would ever escalate the situation. Again, professionalism. It doesn't benefit me to escalate this situation. As much as I wanted to cuss this guy out, as much as I wanted to grab his hand and remove it from my shoulder, physically, that doesn't benefit me. That doesn't benefit anybody other than this situation escalates. What's going to happen? Police are called. I'm going to get fired. And regardless of who started the situation, I'd be in an altercation with a person on a job site and the police were involved. I'd lose my job. What the fuck benefit is that to me? So there's no reason for me to deal with that shit. He's probably, whatever the fuck situation happened, he'd probably get away from everything scot-free. Cause he's got a big schmancy office in a big fancy fucking building. But this fucking great big ass gorilla person thinks that he can intimidate me and he can come and push me around because I'm the little guy, because I'm the skinny guy with the ponytail over there over there cleaning the floors. And that shit pisses me the fuck off. Because really, again, I haven't been bullied for most of my life. I haven't. I've been picked on, but I haven't really been bullied aggressively. But I have had my entire life, because I'm not an intimidating presence, and because I do look very young for my age. I've always kind of been underestimated, I guess. I don't know if underestimated isn't the right word. Because people look at me, and it's always been the case where I was a restaurant manager, general manager for restaurants for 13 years. I want that to soak in for a second. I am 32 years old. For almost half of my life so far, I was a general manager of restaurants. I very quickly moved up in the restaurant industry and I became an important person. Multiple restaurants. Not like I worked at a McDonald's and I was, oh no, I'm the head of McDonald's. I moved up and I had multiple general manager positions in multiple restaurants. And in that capacity, nobody ever took me seriously, especially coming from the, customers overall completely blew me off because I am by far not the oldest person in the kitchen. They look up and I'd have cooks that were twice my age. I'd have cashiers that were older than me. And because of the places that I worked, it was a matter of everybody wore the same uniform. There was not some guy in a white dress shirt walking around looking all manager. Like, I worked in working kitchens where managers might be working the line. Managers might be up front taking orders. Managers worked. We're not some supervisor that's out there telling you do this, you do this, you do this. Managers were working. So if there was an incident up front, I'm very likely working the line, making orders, bagging orders, and getting things out. You cannot discern who's the manager. They call up the manager, and the skinny guy with the ponytail shows up, or at the time I didn't have a ponytail, but I was clean shaven. That takes years off. Since I got out of the restaurant industry, I've established that I keep a goatee now. It's like, my entire life, like adult life, I was never allowed to have facial hair because of my industry. Just can't have a beard or a mustache in the food industry. It's against health code. But now I was like, hey, I can have facial hair. I have facial hair. It ages me a little bit. Clean shaven, I look maybe 20, which is a problem. Like, clean shaven, short hair, I don't look my age by far. So they call this young looking guy up who looks like everybody else. There's like, everybody totally blows me off. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm the GM, you know what seems to be the problem, and nobody wants to fucking deal with me. Nobody wants to talk to me. They think I'm just some punk kid who happens to be the one in charge. It's like, no, I'm the fucking top dog here. The only person over me is the owner. And guess what? He lives 2 states away, and he's fucking asleep because he's in another goddamn time zone. So, deal with me now, because you're not getting shit from anybody else. You don't have a supervisor you can go over me. I'm the fucking boss. All these people in here, I hired their asses. I trained their asses. I'm responsible for their asses. Their job is dependent on me. So, talk to me. But people always underestimate or overlook, or what I can't think of the fucking word, but they always do that shit to me because I'm not an intimidating presence. People who know me, when I'm in, like, if you were in my kitchen, I'm in control of my kitchen. If you're in my space, I'm in control of my space. I'm not some crazy, like, go-getter, aggressive, like, I'm because I'm not intimidating. I'm very, despite my ragey here-ness, I'm very chill a lot of the time. Again, trying to keep my calm, trying to keep as my dad would put it, my Irish temper under control. I try and stay on a fairly normal level of chill. And so, yeah, I get that, but I just, it's mildly, I wouldn't say depressing, but it's mildly depressing that basically because of my physical appearance, I'm always underestimated. I'm always overlooked by the general populace. Nobody will accept that I'm the boss. Nobody will accept I'm the guy in charge. Nobody will accept that it's like, I'm the person you need to talk to have something done. I'm the guy. And so when you get great big gorilla motherfuckers come up to you, they just want to push you around. And anybody who's gonna do that are just a bully anyway. These are the kind of people who are gonna come at you and they're gonna give you shit, and they get off on intimidating little guys. Especially, it's like if he's working in like a realtor's office or some sort of, it's like, it's one of those like aggressive people that goes out and is like, I'm going to get the deal. I'm going to go do the blah, 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 blah. It's like you got this super hyper aggressive personality. Guess what? That makes you a complete and total dick. You're not a good person. You're a piece of shit. And I don't give a fuck who you are outside. The way you treated me, a complete stranger who is doing his job properly, and you fucking acknowledge that I am doing my job properly, and you're going to treat me like that and disrespect me like that, you're a piece of shit. You are absolutely 100% a piece of shit. And people will say like, oh, people like that always get what's coming to them. No, they don't. I'm not some, I'm not going to sit there and dream that it's like, oh yeah, because he's an asshole, I'll eventually come back and get him. There are assholes who treat people like shit every day who never get it back. You can hope all day. Like, yeah, some cases, and yeah, there are plenty of cases where, yeah, you treat people like shit and eventually you treat the wrong person like shit and it comes back to bite you in the ass. It's like, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to harm this guy. I am in no situation, no position where I am able to do anything to this guy. It's like, yeah, I could have called and filed a police report and said this guy was verbally abusive and physically abusive and, blah, blah, blah. What's going to come of that? Nothing. I don't got this guy. It's like, I'm not going to go up to this guy. Hey, what's your name? I'm going to go file a police report. Guess what? That's going to escalate the situation. Now I'm going to have this guy causing trouble. And I would not put it past this guy. If I say, what's your name? I'm calling the police. I'm filing a police report because you're being, verbally and physically abusive and trying to force your way into this building that you don't have access to. He's already established he is not above putting his hands on a complete stranger just trying to do their job. So I would not put it past this guy to fucking hit me. I wouldn't. I've dealt with aggressive people who think they're right and refuse to accept anything else, and who think they can push the little guy over. I've dealt with that my whole life, just because I'm always kind of the little guy. But they really, a lot of these people, that's bully mentality. They think they can get away with it. They're the big guy. They're the tough guy. They can get past it. They can beat you up. So shut up and do what I tell you to, because otherwise I'll beat you up. Grown ass man, like middle-aged fucking dude. He had to be in his 40s. Like I can beat you up, and so I don't. You should just roll over and play dead and do what I want because I'm here and I have money and I'm an important person here and I'm bigger than you and I can beat you up. Therefore, shut up and do what I say. That's high school bullying shit. And it's an off-putting position to be in as an adult. And yes, I perpetually feel like I'm a child, and maybe that's, like, hey, I've successfully not grown up for 30 years, and that's fine. I'm still 32 years old. This guy's still got to be in his mid-40s. We are two grown adults, and you are treating me like this is a fucking playground, and you're trying to steal my lunch money. And I don't understand how any person can treat another person that way. I don't understand how anybody can treat a perfect stranger who, again, he said, was like, I'm just doing my job. I am being responsible and doing my job. But then he proceeds to cuss me out over doing my job properly. So, piece of shit. That's all I'm going to say. It goes without saying that this week, again, that doesn't go without saying. I flat out said it. This guy and his shithead asshole, I'm a big fucking dumb gorilla behavior completely derailed the show for this week. And maybe that's what I needed, because I needed to get this shit out. I need to get this out because this is unacceptable behavior. And it's unacceptable behavior. The world accepts this as unacceptable behavior. It's the big dumb gorilla motherfuckers like this who don't accept it's unacceptable behavior, who think this is just how you become the alpha male in the world. It's like, guess what? You're not the alpha. You work for somebody. You're still a piece of shit. So, You're still a piece of shit. You're still an asshole. You do not deserve to be in a position over somebody like me who is being responsible, who is taking care of their shit, who does not put people down. You are putting people down and you think that it is your right and responsibility and whatever the fuck to put lesser people down. Fuck you. That's it. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you, dude. And, I hope, I'm not expecting this guy to get anything from being a piece of shit. I don't expect that anything's going to come back on this guy because he's a piece of shit. But I can hope all fucking day that this guy eventually picks on the wrong person and it comes back to bite him in the ass. I can hope. I really hope. I really hope that the janitorial lady that let him into the building files a report with the building, because she had a much more cordial interaction with him and got conversational and whatever the hell bullshit with him. She might have got his name. She might have had to put it down in her report for the night. Maybe that gets back to his boss and some bullshit happens to him because he's mistreating the vendors in the building. That'd be great. I have no knowledge of this. I can hope. Hope is all I've got at this point, because I'm the little guy. Like, yeah, I'm the little guy with a microphone, but I'm just the little guy. So, I'm still all wound up from this, and I'm probably more wound up now after venting, just because I churned up the whole incident again. But I had to get this off my chest in a more active manner, I guess. Because fuck this guy I got home last night and it took me 2 hours after driving back to my office from the job site. After doing my paperwork, hour drive home, get home, it took me still 2 more hours to come down off of this last night. So these sort of situations push me into a, like that rage, like you were seeing, like you were witnessing right now, that just, yeah, there's no words for it, really. I've used all the words for it so far. It's just a lot of primordial grunting and yelling and screaming, and I want to stab this son of a bitch in the throat. Just 'cause bullies. Which doesn't make you any better, It's like, I'm not condoning murder. I'm not saying stab your bully in the throat. I'm saying the desire to harm the person who harmed you is perfectly natural. Doing it is the problem. I do not do. I just really want to. I really want to hit him. I really want to pull out my knife and stab him in the throat for the way he treated me. For the way he obviously just treats people. Not going to do it. Because I'm the bigger person. Because I'm the better person who stays calm and keeps my composure so that I don't come off as a piece of shit. Because I'm a better person. So, today's lesson, be the better person. And I realized that for all intents and purposes, I kind of buckled to a bully. I buckled to a bully because sometimes fighting is not going to benefit you. A lot of the time, fighting is not going to benefit you. And you have, what's the song? You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And when you're the 140-pound, skinny guy, and you've got a great big fucking gorilla in your face, you fold them. You buckle under, and you remember you are on the losing side of this equation, no matter how it plays out. And yes, there are outlets and there are ways that, and if you are like one of those people as an adult, as a kid, or whatever, who is perpetually bullied and who has, there's a guy at your work or there's whatever, and you are in a bullying situation. I had a one-off situation with some asshole at a job site. But if you're in a situation where you're being bullied perpetually, that's when you need to step up. That's when you need to report somebody, when you need to if you need to call the police, if it's a domestic thing, if it's whatever, that's when you get the police involved. That's when you get supervisors involved. That's when you call somebody. That's when you know, like I said, I had a one-off thing. If you have a recurring thing, fucking deal with it. Do not buckle under forever, because all that does is give them more power, make them beat their fucking chest bigger, and like, I see, I'm bigger than and badder than you. You're gonna do what I say. You know, it's the Biff Tannen, Back to the Future reference. That's Biff Tannen bullying George McFly from high school up to adulthood. Same shit. I can't believe I worked in a Back to the Future reference. It's the same thing. If you don't step up, if you don't do something, the bullies will always push you over. Again, you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them. One-off incident, I'm just gonna step back and rant here. If this was a guy I worked with that was a perpetual bully, I'd fucking report him. That's it. If this was a domestic situation, I'd report him, I'd call the cops, I'd do whatever. But I'd do something to confront the situation. Not because I'm not because I'm like a person that's like, again, I'm not one of those assertive people. I'm not. So, but it's not being assertive, it's self-preservation. If you're in an abusive situation, if you're in a bullying situation of any type, you need to do whatever you can to remove yourself from the situation. I don't know why I'm suddenly getting all preachy when I was ranting about getting shit from a big dumb ape. But yeah, you have to remove yourself from the situation because it's not going to be good for you. And sometimes if these things progress, then it just gets to really, really, it gets really bad, really dark, and you have to stand up for yourself when you have to stand up for yourself. You know what I mean? Do you? I don't know. Nevertheless, I think I need to go find something to calm down and take my mind off of this, because I can absolutely believe I've ranted about this guy for this long. But that being said, no news this week. No recommended listening this week. I had it, like I said, I had it all planned out. I had a fucking outline. I had everything prepped for the show. And then this happened. And then it's just, fuck this guy. Yep, that's the Fuck This Guy show. Starring me. But if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my rant. If you listened to the kind of bonus episode that went up on Friday, we simply titled The Incident. That was, if you listened in, you understand this was the incident that occurred with me back when I was a restaurant manager in Texas back in 2010. If you listened to that, everybody who shared it on Facebook and Twitter, thank you very much. It was a very tough thing to do, to sit down and record that. It didn't seem like it was going to be as difficult and as hard to get through when my wife discussed doing it. But as we progressed through the story, it became very apparent that it was going to be difficult to work through. We both had moments where we had to kind of, one of us jumped over the other so that we could, allow each other to kind of collect our thoughts, and we, crack a couple of jokes to break the tension. But thank you to everybody who listened, who shared it, because it's part of who I am. It was a very dark thing that happened to me. If you don't know, if you haven't listened to it, it's not funny. Not at all. It's very simply the story about a case where I almost died, where somebody almost killed me. And so it's the very deep version of that story. Thinking about telling the story, my nerves I get kind of jittery now. And I didn't think that it was going to be so hard to get through just discussing it. But again, thank you to everybody who's listened, who has shared it, who has commented on like my experience. And yeah, because I went from really angry to I've kind of got a pit in my stomach now thinking about all that. But that's it for this week. I promise next week I'm doing Valentine's show next week, because Valentine's Day is on Tuesday and this show comes out on Mondays. And so I'm doing Valentine's Day. And if you tune in to Mom and Dad Cuss, this week we're doing our pre-Valentine's Day show. So tune in for that. We're gonna have a little Valentine's fun on Mom and Dad Cuss, and next week I'm going to be talking about how shitty of a Valentine's Day person I am. Yep, forewarning, I know what I'm doing next week. Congratulations. But if you are interested in catching up on any of the past episodes, you can find them all at odddadout.blogspot.com. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at odddadout, and you can always email me your comments or questions or sympathy or whatever to odddadout@gmail.com. And until next week, thank you so much for listening to my bullshit, and good night.